Welcome to another episode of the Nutritional Advantage. I'm your host, Callyn, and we are going to dive into probably one of the most asked about questions that we have: holiday or vacation weight gain and the truth behind that scale going up. This is something that I honestly get with a lot of my clients. They will come to a check-in and they will be a little stressed out. They got a vacation coming up here in the next couple weeks and they're not quite sure how to navigate it. And at the same time, they have known from in the past when they go on vacation, the scale goes up 8 to 10 pounds. Most of us, it's happened to us before. You know, there was a time back in the day, I remember going to Jamaica and I came home 8 pounds heavier. And I was like, oh my gosh, I gained so much weight. But the reality is you didn't gain 8 to 10 pounds of fat. Now, when you look at the physiology standpoint of weight gain, it's physically impossible to gain 8 to 10 pounds of fat just over a week of vacation. So even if you are at a 500 calorie surplus for an entire week, maybe you might have gained a pound. So you have to put a little bit of science to that strategy as well, and understanding that 8 to 10 pounds was just inflammation. And it's asking yourself what caused that inflammation. And let's dive into the holidays. So when it comes to holidays, most people are traveling. And when you are traveling, you have to consider, were you sitting in a vehicle for long periods of time? Were you on an airplane? You know, if those two situations are the case, then absolutely you're going to be holding a little bit of water retention. Your bowels could be completely off. Even when it comes to going to your holiday function, were you consuming alcohol? Were you drinking enough water? If you were drinking alcohol, you may have a little inflammation from that. If you didn't have enough water, your body may be retaining a little more fluids as well. Then you have to think, how did you navigate the foods appropriately during your individual holiday? Were you eating small portions throughout the day, or were you eating larger meals throughout the day? That can make a difference on water retention. Another thing that could play a huge role is the types of foods that you're eating. Were you eating a lot of foods that you were inflammatory to? Obviously, that's going to be the highest level of inflammation that's going to be presented to the body during that given situation. Then you have to ask yourself, did you entertain in the dessert table just a little bit? And maybe just a little bit too extra. So on the holidays, it is very common for a lot of my clients to gain weight. So when we are looking at the scale, our next step is always going to be, how can we get rid of inflammation faster? So when you do experience those bouts of inflammation, such as during the holidays, it's a whole lot easier for you to come back with peace of mind that, hey, in about 4 days, the water retention will dissipate and I'll be back on my normal schedule. So some things that we recommend our clients to do after the holidays is be mindful of your water intake, be mindful of your sleep. Also, make sure that you are staying away from any further inflammatory foods. As long as you stabilize, get back to your plan, then the water retention goes away and subsides immediately. Now, when we're talking about vacation may be a little bit of a different story. A lot of my clients are getting in shape for their specific vacation. So being on tighter nutrition, they always ask me, how am I going to navigate this? You know, can I not drink? What do I have access to drink? So I always say, what are your vacation goals? If your vacation goals are to relax and have a good time and to feel great, then there's going to be a setup that is in full alignment with that. So with that type of mentality and mindset towards a vacation, it's always best to keep your nutrition pretty simple. So if you're not going to be burning a lot of calories and helping your body metabolize through some of the inflammation, maybe drinking moderately and also staying away from a lot of food sensitivities if you're just going to be simply relaxing. You don't want to relax in the beach with a little bit of a bloat in your tummy or any discomfort or any headaches. So making sure that you're very, very mindful. Now I have a lot of my performance athletes that are crazy vacationers. They cannot sit still. They're wanting to do all the action-packed adventures. They're burning so many calories. They're diving. If you are the type of person that when you go on vacation, you are going for the thrill and the experience, your nutrition is going to be a lot more flexible. So even if you do spark inflammatory response and have some of those foods that do cause that water retention, you're going to metabolize through that so quick just for the mere standpoint. You're completely active every single day. So when it comes to vacationing, I always ask people, what is your goal with vacation? If you're sedentary versus being highly active, there's going to be a completely different approach mentally that you need to have with what your choices are with food while you're in a different country. Other things that you have to consider is doing research on the country that you're going to, knowing what restaurants you have access to, what groceries you have access to, what are the foods native to that area that are going to be in season. Anytime I go to a new country, this is always something I'm actively seeking, is learning more about the actual culture of the place that I'm going to and knowing what I'm going to have access to. For example, we just recently went to the Bahamas. In the Bahamas, there was very limited options for restaurants. So we had to be very selective on what we actually brought with us in terms of snacks to fill the dietary void that we were going to be missing while we were out there. Just to make sure that everyone had the right nutrients that they need, that we had plenty of food. The grocery stores closed at 5:00. By the time we got done with activities and we were hungry, we didn't have access to food. So thankfully, I prepared an entire suitcase full of snacks for the whole crew so that we were well prepared. So sometimes on vacation, you have to not only do your research, but you also have to come prepared for what's ahead of you in addition. So a pro tip for vacationing, especially, is making sure you are on top of your water and staying hydrated. So I have a lot of individuals that ask me about my take on alcohol. When I go on vacations, I still drink alcohol. I don't drink an overabundance of it. I always think everything within moderation, but our clients do track alcohol when they go on vacations. And it's knowing what alcohols respond well to your body. And we always have that unwritten rule of, as soon as you have a drink, an alcoholic beverage, follow it with a glass of water. Then if you want to have your next alcoholic beverage, follow it with a glass of water and get in that habitual pattern of allowing yourself to stay hydrated all day. Then at the same time, when it comes to tracking your calories, we have specific setups on what you have to replace that alcoholic beverage with. That right there helps everyone feel like they are still staying in alignment with their goals, but at the same time, allowing that opportunity to have fun with their friends if they want to have a few drinks on the beach. So vacation can be done super easy. You just have to have the right mindset and the right individuals to help educate you in that process. So at Callyn Enterprises, we are here if you have any questions about how to handle the holidays, how to get rid of that inflammatory response faster, or how to vacation smarter. We are always here to guide you in the right direction. So thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Nutritional Advantage. We'll catch you on the next one.